I apologize for the delay. We're going to get Plum meeting started soon. We're just waiting to reach a quorum. We're still waiting, hopefully, to get one more member here. So hopefully we'll wait just a couple more minutes and before we start. Again, I would like to apologize to the public. We are trying to reach quorum. We know that we have a lot of important items that we want to hear and want to move on to City Council. We have a lot of items that are on deadline that we also need to hear. So if you would please just be patient with us. We are trying to get a third member here. At the time, we are looking into all different options to make sure that we have a quorum today to hear all the important items. Thank you. Thank you for your patience. We will hopefully have quorum at that time. So good afternoon. I see Councilmember De Leon has joined us. Thank you so much for Councilman De Leon. We're going to start the special meeting of the Planning and Land Use Management Committee. Mr. Mejia, I apologize. Let's give Mr. De Leon a second. Councilor De Leon, I knew you had a prior engagement, so I appreciate you making your way back to help us make quorum today. Mr. Mejia, can you please call the roll?
Yes, sir. Mr. Lee.
Present.
Ms. Hutt, absent. Ms. Jaroslavsky.
Here.
Ms. Padilla, absent. Mr. De Leon. Present, and then 3 members on a quorum, sir.
All right, we'll start this meeting by taking public comment on agenda items. Our goal is to get to as many speakers as possible. We will then move through the agenda one item at a time, listen to staff presentations, and vote on the items accordingly. Madam City Clerk, can you please read the rules of public comment into the record?
Yes, sir. Appellants and/or their representatives and applicants and/or their representatives will be allowed to speak for a total of 3 minutes per side unless otherwise noted by the chair. Members of the public wishing to speak on one agenda item only shall have an opportunity to speak for 1 minute. Appellants and applicants will be given an opportunity to speak when their item is called. Each appellant and applicant has a total of 3 minutes to speak. An appellant can choose to have a single representative speak on his or her behalf or divide the 3 minutes among his or her team. Anyone else, including an attorney or project manager wishing to speak on an appellant's behalf who does not do so during this 3-minute period may offer a minute of public comment whenever the committee chairperson opens the public comment period for the meeting, which is usually at the beginning of the meeting. Therefore, we expect that appellants and applicants have the respective teams assembled and ready to present at the appropriate times today. Members of the public wishing to speak on more than one item shall state that and shall be allowed to speak for a total of 2 minutes. Failure to submit public comment in a timely manner before the comment period for the item ends results in forfeiture of the opportunity to participate in public comment for the item. Madam City Attorney, please provide additional guidance on public comment.
When speaking on the agenda items, you must be on topic. Our goal is to get through as many speakers as we can. If you are not speaking on topic, or if we cannot tell whether you are speaking on an agenda item, you will get one brief warning from the city attorney. If you do not immediately get clearly on topic, or if you stray off topic, you will forfeit the rest of your time, and we will move on to the next speaker. We will inform you when your time is up.
All right, before we turn to public comment, I'd like to open up the floor for any additional recommendations from council members or staff. Now is the time to read those additional recommendations on the record for any of the items on today's agenda. Do we have any council offices that would like to add? Come, Jordan.
Sean Silva for the record, Office of Councilman Tracy Park. For item 12. Good afternoon, Chair and members of the Planning and Land Use Management Committee. My name is Sean Silva, and as I said, I'm speaking on behalf of the Office of Councilman Tracy Park. I'm here to speak on the CEQA appeal for the Tremonto Ravello project in Castellamare, Pacific Palisades. Councilmember Park has submitted a communication asking this committee to grant the CEQA appeal, remand the project back to the West Los Angeles Area Planning Commission, and direct city planning to prepare a new CEQA clearance supported by substantial evidence. This proposed development involves the construction of 4 large homes on an active landslide area with significant grading, partial slope remediation, and the installation of hundreds of caissons in sensitive coastal bluff area. These interventions raise serious safety, environmental, and infrastructure concerns that demand your thorough review. First, this area is one of Los Angeles' most active landslides. Earlier this year, slope movement from the Tremonto area caused lane closures on Pacific Coast Highway, disrupting thousands of commuters and highlighting the risk for public safety. The project's partial stabilization plan potentially risks further destabilization of the slope, jeopardizing PCH, and increases the likelihood of future closures or legal liabilities for the city. Second, residents have expressed dissatisfaction with the project's reliance on a mitigated negative declaration under CEQA, as it may inadequately address significant safety and environmental risks. Under CEQA's fair argument standard, if substantial evidence suggests the project could cause environmental harm, an environmental impact report is required. Third, the existing infrastructure in the neighborhood is already strained. Narrow roads, poor drainage, and an aging stormwater system cannot handle the demands of this project, creating further risk for residents and public infrastructure. Additionally, Castellammare has a history of unfinished projects, and this development risks compounding those issues if the construction is delayed or halted. Given these serious concerns, Councilmember Park urges this committee to grant the appeal, remand the project back to the West Los Angeles Area Planning Commission, and direct city planning to prepare a new CEQA clearance supported by substantial evidence. Our office has also prepared some findings to support our recommended grant of the appeal. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Any other council officers wish to speak on any amendments before any of the agenda items before us today?
Councilman Lee, there's, I believe city planning will speak on item number 10. They submitted amendments that have already been uploaded to the file on November the 27th. In addition, they prepare a communication dated December 3rd with further technical amendments, and I believe a representative from city planning will present those.
Thank you. Good afternoon, council members of the Plum Committee. This is Paul Caparassa with the Department of City Planning. Staff has additional requested corrections, which will be read into the record today. A copy of these changes will also be submitted, a copy of these changes have been submitted to the council file. Staff requests the following additional corrections. For item number 10, council file 24-1315-S1, for the TVC 2050 specific plan, Appendix E, streetscape plan, that's section 1.2.1 of streetscape improvements. In each mention, correct the legend text for bicycles, trash receptacles, and benches as follows. Refer to section 1.4.A, 1.4.B, and 1.4.G of this document. For section 1.4.B.D, trash receptacles, correct the following misspelling for right-of-way. For the TVC 2050 specific plan, Appendix H, transportation improvements, modify sections A.2, A.3, A.5, and B to read as follows. A.2, funding. In order to address these potential effects, the project would fund implementation of an NTMP, specifically $250,000 in funding to be provided consistent with the LADOT Transportation Assessment Letter dated November 16th, 2021, with an additional $1.8 million to be provided under the development agreement. For A.3, program development, the NTMP should be developed in cooperation with the Los Angeles Department of Transportation, LADOT, appropriate council staff, and affected neighborhood residents, and remove the last sentence of A.3 program development. A.5 agreement, the NTMP implementation plan will set key milestones, identify a proposed process in developing an NTMP for each of the 2 study neighborhoods, and identify which types of measures will be prioritized. The NTMP implementation plan will be formalized through an agreement between the applicant and LADOT prior to the issuance of any certificates of occupancy. The agreement will include a funding guarantee and outreach processes, selection and approval criteria for any evaluated NTMP measures, and an implementation phasing plan. B, other transportation improvements. remove the first sentence and add, consistent with the LA DOT Transportation Assessment Letter, the $250,000 contribution discussed above will also contribute towards the implementation of bicycle improvements. For the TVC 2050 Sign District, Appendix A, Conceptual Sign Plans, the Sign District Conceptual Sign Plans will be corrected as follows. Update the sign site plan and elevations to show the height change along Fairfax Avenue to be consistent with the updated Appendix A, Initial Development Plan of the specific plan. Remove a footnote which references the draft DAR signage plan since it is no longer relevant, and correct the location of one of the architectural ledge signs on Beverly Boulevard. For item number 11, Council File 24-13-15-S2, for the Development Agreement Ordinance, Section 7.1 and 8.9.1. In each mention, correct the wording as follows. Replace Planning Department with City. For the Development Agreement Findings, pages F-1 and F-2, in each mention, correct the total project square footage as follows. 1.686 million square feet, and that concludes staff's corrections. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Correct.
Last opportunity for any other amendments from council offices or the planning department.
Yes, and just to clarify, Mr. Lee, the amendments read by Mr. Caporaso include items 10 and 11. Yes, there is another amendment by Council District 5, and I will read those into the record. For item number 16, these are recommendations by CD5 again, to amend Instruction 1 in the October 24th, 2024 Planning Department report.
Excuse me, Mr. Mejia, if the gentleman on the right, if you continue making noises and disrupting this meeting, this is your first warning. Officer Duarte, the gentleman that's turning back to looking back at the council, if you can instruct them that this is their first warning, and please help me identify anybody else to start disrupting the meeting. Thank you very much. Go ahead, Mr. Mejia.
Yes. So again, to amend Instruction 1 in the October 24th, 2024 Planning Department report as follows. Instruct the Department of City Planning, in coordination with the Department of Building and Safety and the City Attorney, to continue with Instructions 1 and 2. Strike out Instruction 3 of the Plum Committee report for Council File 220120S1, dated June the 18th, 2024, as adopted by the City Council on July the 2nd, 2024. Amend Instruction 1 in the June 18th, 2024 Plum Committee report to read, instruct the Planning Department along with Building and Safety, City Attorney, to prepare and present an ordinance to amend Chapters 1 of the current zoning code and Chapter 1A of the new zoning code of the municipal code to appropriately define electric vehicle charging as a primary use citywide and include standards for ministerial and discretionary approvals for such use in appropriate zones. Clear performance standards should maintain scalability and flexibility through alternative options and consider community benefits and citywide design guideline goals, and this is the new language being added, for light, medium, and heavy-duty vehicles, including private fleet charging. Strike Instruction number 3 from the June 18th, 2024 Planning Committee report, which had instructed the Planning Department, Building and Safety, and City Attorney to report back on recommendations to the code as to defining EV charging as an allowable use for medium and heavy-duty vehicles, including private vehicle charging. That has been superseded by the amendment to Instruction 1 in the June 18th, 2024 Plum Committee report that I just read into the record. And that concludes the amendment, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Mejia. For those,
Item 10, we have,
Excuse me?
we have conditions for item 10 that we asked to be,
Oh, item 10. That was, that's right. This one, right? Okay, so I read item CD5's amendment for item 16. There is a further amendment from CD5 for item 10. Bear with me, it's about a page and a half of amendments. So These are the additional conditions of approval submitted by CD5 for item number 10 on today's agenda. As it relates to the section of maintaining studio uses, this is the recommendations. A, studio land uses. The uses permitted within the specific plan area shall be consistent with the following 5 studio land uses: soundstage, production support, production office, general office, and retail, including but not limited to the following ancillary uses set forth below. The specific plan, and this is the new language in bold, the specific plan area shall maintain a minimum of 150,000 square feet of combined soundstage, production support, and production office uses. Additionally, the specific plan area shall maintain the soundstage use at all times. Number 2, driveway queuing depths. Section 6.1, standard operation and access, subsection B, access, shall be amended as follows. B, access, driveway access plan shall be submitted to the Department of Transportation Development Review Section for review and approval prior to the construction of any project pursuant to the specific plan and prior to any change to the driveway access or location of the mobility hub. This is the language in bold, indicating that DOT shall review driveway and queuing capacity to prevent potential vehicular backup onto adjacent roadways. 3, special events. A new subsection D, special events, shall be added to section 6.1, standard operation and access. D, special events. A maximum of 12 non-production ticketed special events with over 500 attendees per year shall be permitted within the specific plan area. Such special events shall adhere to the existing applicable regulations under the code, such as providing a traffic control plan to the satisfaction of the Department of Transportation. Helipad operations, section 4. A new subsection E, helipad, shall be added to section 6.1, standard operation and access as follows. E, helipad. Operation of a helipad shall be consistent with the historical studio use of the existing helipad. 5, rooftop cellular and communication facilities, southeast parking structure. Appendix D, design standards, section 4E1, cellular facilities shall be amended as follows. Cellular facilities shall be concealed and visually integrated within the design or architecture of the building or structure housing in the equipment, or structure rather housing the equipment and not visible from the public right-of-way. In addition, for all cellular facilities located on the rooftop of the southeast parking structure, included in the initial development plans, a 20-foot setback from all perimeter facades of the parking structure shall be required. And that concludes the additional conditions of approval as submitted by CD5, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Mejia. Any other comments? Any other additional amendments, Mr. Mejia, that you are aware of?
Not that I'm aware of, sir.
Any last chance for any council offices to speak on additional amendments on agenda items before us today? Seeing none, for those planning to make public comment, we're about to go into public comment, please note that is my intention, unless there is an objection later on, to take the following items on consent: 4, 5, 7, 8, 15, 17, and 19. So if you are here to speak on those items, note that those items, unless there is any objection by some of my colleagues, those items will be moved directly onto council. Okay, Mr. Yeager, can you please open up public comment?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Members of the public, when your name is called, please line up on the left side of council chambers. Note that if you're an applicant or an appellant and your name is stated publicly, please wait until that item is before us. You'll be given your 3 minutes when that item is before this committee. So with that, Afrey Stevenson, Eating the Dogs, Mike Greenspan, A.S. Stevenson, Angela White, S. McCork, Inches Duarte, Kojo Brooks, T. Mott, Blumendingo, Herman, Randy Vaughn, Abel Gutierrez, Alex Aguilar, Ali Lyon, and Amy Mintier.
Sir, before you start to speak, I'd just like to remind him that I would like to thank Councilmember De Leon. I know you were excused from today's meeting for coming back to help us make quorum. Councilmember De Leon is on a time constraint, and in order to keep quorum, we want to make sure that we hear as many people as possible. So if you are part of a group, if you want to speak on behalf of that group, so we can make sure that we get a chance to hear every public comment, because I know we have some important items today. Understand that we will have a hard cutoff time of around 5 o'clock. So please keep your comments to your items, and again, if you are willing to speak on behalf of a organized group or members that you've come with, we'd appreciate it. All right, Ms. Yeager.
All right, thank you, Mr. Council President. You're asking about the part of the group. I am part of the North Korean Communist group, and then, so I will be speaking on the item number 16, and then general, because you said 15 is not allowed, so I will be speaking on the Communist 16 and the general only.
No, 15 is allowed. It's just going, I'm just going to
So
be
it's
recommending
allowed.
that for consent.
So that means I will speak on 15, 16, and the general. So it's allowed. Okay, thank you. Start with 15 is, oh my God, my timer already started half a minute ago. Thank you very much. It's about unpermitted illegal off-site signs. So that is very interesting, because what I see is that we have absolutely no regulation, no enforcement about illegal off-site signs. Because in my neighborhood, I have seen numerous that people are using their political campaign and on the sidewalk put something on the sign. I'm pretty sure that it was illegal, but however, after numerous phone calls to the Hernandez office, nothing. Item number 16 is about a public right-of-way. That is great, because I have a serious concern about a public right-of-way, because there are some people using public right-of-way as their personal toilet. So a lot of times I'm taking a walk on the public right-of-way, on the public sidewalk. However, what I see is feces and urine, and then after numerous phone calls to the Councilmember Hernandez's office about this kind of a public right-of-way violation, because public right-of-way is designed for the public to use, to walk, to commute. It is not designed for someone to use as a toilet. However, obviously, there's no enforcement. For the general public comment is that since we are talking about land use, I want to advocate for more toilet in the city of LA. I see there's many empty, vacant buildings, and I see numerous so-called squatters take over the city property. At the same time, city of LA are not building enough toilet to accommodate a population of 4 million. 100,000 people in Skid Row or anywhere in Figueroa, they do not have access to toilet, to clean bathroom, to shower. So as a result, they only finish their business on the sidewalk, on your front door, in the shopping center or whatever. But if we can make sure, if we plan, and then if we can have more land that was used, reserved for a restroom, that'd be a good idea.
Next speaker, please.
Staffer B, I want to speak on all 3 minutes of my time.
Go ahead, speaker.
Well, what do we consider a public right-of-way? Would we consider that it belongs to the Scientology of that of Mr. Hubbard, the pedophiles and brainwashing young women? Because in my days, when the Mormons were fucking women and I'm talking about fucking women. That's called polygamy.
Please stick to the item. This is on EV charging.
Well, I'm trying to get to that point of a public right-of-way. I don't want to get fucked. And that means that Scientology has no right putting barriers in a public safety zone, a pedestrian zone, and anywhere near a white motherfucker like me pays taxes for a public sidewalk. What do you not understand of that, jackass? Now, as far as the Los Angeles Municipal Code to increase fines for and penalties to determine further installations of unpermitted illegals off-site signs, well, as you see, I'm wearing a sign. Can you read it? Can you see it? That's the purpose of a sign. Now, I'll read it into the record because someone back there said he don't know how to weed. He smoke weed, so buckwheat, I give you some. It states, who ate all the pussy? Now, that's an excellent sign to have in a public area so we all know who ate what. So, to understand now, the definition is, who ate all the pussy? That's all. Now to my general public comment. Now, it's very classy that Kevin DeLeon takes his time to sit in here and listen to all the shenanigan bullshit because Hutt doesn't show up, Padilla doesn't show up, and he's classy. Yeah, he made a few mistakes, but he's a winner in my eyes. Not like the rest of you fucking scumbag criminal enterprise of Los Angeles. So all the red tape you have on all these people's cases, I want you to remove. This is our city. We the people own it. And I want all these people's cases to go through with flying colors so they can build, as you heard. Our new president, Trump, has made it clear. We're going to keep it in America, and we're going to build. So fuck the permits, fuck the building engineers, and fuck the new DA, because I want to see progress. Open up our public sidewalks and streets.
Next speaker.
Yes, Mr. FBI target, I'd like to speak on all the items in general comment. So now, let's see here. Item number 1, it's in Stafford B's district. Kevin, vote no on anything from CD 12. Number 5, we fully support. Yes, it's a Kevin De Leon item on number 5. Yes, a theater and a multi-purpose. There it is. Kevin De Leon trying to rehabilitate that shithole on South Broadway. Let's give him a hand. Yes, that's right. And to you developers, just remember that Kevin De Leon and Associates for your lobbying needs. Number fucking 5 or 6. Let's keep going here. CD 8. Number 6 is that little tiny short polished, bald-headed little scumbag president. We say no. So note that, Kevin, no on number 6. So noted. Then we have the Director of City Planning, an award of $67,500 for the African American Historic Places. Well, let's see. What are the chances of anybody voting against number 7? I mean, you know, Kevin De Leon for Lieutenant Governor will vote yes for number 7. Let's give him a hand. Civil rights leader. Yes. And then we have number 8, CD7. That's a Kevin De Leon ally. Her name is Mooney Cow. Number 9 for Katie. Normally, Katie, I would fuck your item up, but I'm going to say support number 9 because you sat here in that ugly outfit so we could have quorum. Let's give her a hand. Oh, very nice, yeah. Yes, that's good. Now we'll get to our general comment. In United States versus Jose Luis Huizar, there are 3 things all project developers need. What are they, sir? They got to pay off the building inspector. Check. donate to the office holder account of the council member in the district, check. And remember, you have to pay off the fucking council member too. Yes, that's right. So as you know, Kevin's gonna be leaving the council with all of that information he has, going all the way back to Sacramento. Oh, Kevin could send a lot of asses to prison. So remember, everybody, Kevin De Leon and Associates for your lobbying, and in 2 years, he'll be voting for lieutenant governor. That's right, he's gonna be lieutenant governor. If not, he'll send you all up the river to join Mr. Weezer. That's right. And then, of course, there, Mr. Plum Chair, the reason you were put in the committee here was one reason. I think Marquise's getting ready to sell you out to the FBI in exchange for that. Let's give him a hand for that, too.
Next speaker.
Good afternoon. My name is Randy Vaughn, and I'm here regarding the TV City. I am a member of the community. I live in Park La Brea for 25 years. I love my community, and I am, for the record, supporting the studio expansion, but not something the size of 2 Staples Centers. It's really just a simple thing. We want it, but less. And I don't understand why this has to go on for so long. I support a studio expansion, but not one that's 95% office space. Just the name TV City misled me for a long time because I came here for the business, show business, and I am so excited at the idea of the CBS studios being renovated and expanded on. So thank you for letting me speak.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Hi, my name is Daniel Vaughn. I live at Park La Brea. And hello to Council Member Yaroslavsky. The TVC 2050 does not have detailed plans, unlike the plans for Town and Country. They had very robust plans for that. Even TVC's watercolor depictions of the project have disclaimers at the bottom. The zoning they want is way too broad. They can do almost anything. The traffic will choke, the traffic that they'll have to that will choke local commerce. Unlimited helicopter traffic. The helicopter noise will be inflicted on local neighborhoods. Helicopter noise, you like that where you live? It's way too big. It's double the size of the crypto arena. Cut $500,000 off the size of it, please. And I guess that's it. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, sir. Officers, can you please identify the disturbance on the side so we're not interrupting the meeting?
Good afternoon, Councilmember Lee. How you doing? It's my council member right there. My name is Alex Aguilar. I am here representing the Laborers International Union of North America and LIUNA Local 724, which we represent over 1,800 men and women in the entertainment industry. I'm here to urge your support for the TVC studio project. Our members work directly on productions and support studios like TVC. That's what our members do on a daily basis. We work on feature films, TV shows, and also maintain all the studio facilities across California, especially Southern California. The TVC project will bring thousands of well-paying union jobs to LA with union labor standards, pensions, and career opportunities for all the surrounding communities, and most importantly, people of color in those communities. We don't want the entertainment industry leaving LA. Right now, we're going through a tough time. We're fighting to get this work back. So we need to support the industry. We need to support good union projects like TVC to keep filming in California Thank you. So I urge you to vote yes.
Thank you. Next speaker, please. Go ahead, speaker.
Mike Greenspan, all items and public comment. Now, I noticed something. There's something about a couple of California black walnut trees on item 4. And they are protected. And we wanted to remove 3 trees. There's just one little problem, to the best of my knowledge, in LA. You also have to go get approval from the Board of Public Works. Have you got that approval yet? Or are we putting the cart before the horse? You know, build, baby, build. Yes, I get it. You want to just concrete over everything. Well, maybe you ought to go by the law and respect protected trees and go to the Board of Public Works if it's a tree removal, because they have a say. Now, another thing is this television city, build, baby, build. I mean, let's just concrete over all the Fairfax, folks. CBS is big, it's powerful, it can do what it damn well pleases, and what do you expect? They're just going to railroad things through. Choo, choo! And do they care? They don't care how many people are against it. Remember, they got shareholders to answer to, and they've got profits to make. And if just because you will lose the quiet enjoyment of your property or other things with this big nuisance and all that tons of dirt being taken out of your neighborhood to put another hole and then build, baby, build, how many stories will this one be, this monstrosity? So have fun with it. After all, your stuff really, how could I describe it? It sucks a dick like this. That's the best way to describe it, folks. Let's just build everything. Now, I got public comment coming, and I do want to talk about public comment because there's a guy on this committee, John Lee. I got to talk about him because John Lee was the chief deputy to a guy named Mitch Englander. And guess where Mitch Englander ended up going? He went to prison. He went to prison. Well, and of course, John Lee was the chief deputy. He probably should have gone to prison too, but maybe he's just a small fish by comparison. Got money bribes, hotel room bribes, liquor bill bribes, pussy bribes. And this is a part-time pig from LAPD, Mitchell Englander, council president pro tem, 2 heartbeats away from being mayor. And this is what this committee is about. It's about bribery. And who gets the best bribe? Who else has been on this committee? Weezer, where is he? Oh, he's in Lompoc prison for the next 13 years. Maybe you'll go visit your buddies there. After all, is De Leon going to prison? No, he's just been booted out of office. Is Yaroslavsky going to prison? Well, one day they'll catch her. And Lee, he just got away with a lot of stuff. Fuck that.
Next speaker, please.
Hi, I'm Tia, and I like to speak on all items as well as general public comment. I'm here because this says 2 minutes. I'm supposed to get 3 minutes, right? Okay, it says 2 minutes.
2 minutes for the items.
Okay, I just wanted to make it clear that I have tried to make grievances multiple times over at LA Family Housing in regards to the man that walked into the room on my daughter while my daughter was showering, as well as in regards to the mistreatment that we've been having based on that.
I'm going to have to ask that you stick to the items,
after I come
please.
in and made this comment, they're going to cut me? Because after I come in and made this comment, they've been retaliating on
All right,
me
let's
and
move
giving
her
me
to
a
general
hard
comment.
time. They came in to give letters to Santa to all the children that's at the facility, and my children are friends with those kids, and they talk to them every day, and they went over our room, and they allowed them to get letters to Santa, as well as come in and turn the lights off on us while I was reading to my children, and tell me that I was giving the man attitude when I asked him, can he leave out, because my children were in the shower, and he came in without knocking with the key, and I expressed that to them, and everything has been recorded. I make sure I'm recording every time, and I don't appreciate that they were were about to cut me off. This is the same way that I feel when they came in, and I felt very violated, and I'm not allowed to have my grievance heard. I want to have my voice be heard about what's going on with LA Family Housing and how the Genesee Center did us last year. I'm talking about Cesar Chavez now, but last year with the Genesee Center, what they did with us, my mother, after I just had my baby, and I'm open from hip to hip, and I'm having a hard time. My mother came in. They knew my mother was on my case because my 70-year-old mother came in there.
Thank you, Speaker. Council Sergeants, can we get her contact information so that we can have somebody from the respective council office get in contact with her? Next speaker, please.
You can say general public comment or all items so they don't rush you. No, they rush you. Go ahead. About what the kids said at the center about whatever, how they've been treated.
We'll have to move to the next speaker.
You wanted to do that so bad. You did it, and you made her feel uncomfortable by the way you came over and told us that we couldn't talk. He did that on the sidelines, and he told them that they couldn't talk, and he was going to cut me and told me that. Why y'all doing that? Because I should be.
Ma'am, we're trying to conduct a meeting here.
And you didn't allow. He came over when y'all didn't see that it wasn't on record. This police officer came over and put fear into them and told them that they couldn't speak. And I don't appreciate.
Ma'am, we have to move on to our next speaker.
And some of those funds can be allocated towards this beautiful child that's an artist.
Next speaker, please.
CBS News and Fox News. Look up Kojo the artist, Kojo the artist, and maybe allocate some of those funds for beautification projects towards the murals that my son can do, or towards the children that are amazingly talented artists. And it's not right that they're holding on to resources and playing God and choosing who they
Officers.
resources to. That's what they did. And that's not even that. I feel like I'm supposed to have full responsibility for my children, but at the same time, if they're coming around giving letters to stand to the other kids.
She's now disrupting this meeting.
Officers, pursuant to Rule 7 and Rule 12, can you please escort this woman outside? Please get her information so we can return to the respective council office.
While we wait, I'll call some more names for public comment. Randy West, Rebecca Ryan, Rosalie Wayne, Roseanne Sashone, Shelby Zaragoza, Ma'am, you are now disrupting this committee meeting. We ask that you please leave. Shelley Wagers, Shonda Walkovitz, Stephanie Otzi, Stephen San, Susan Collette. Go ahead, Speaker.
Thank you very much. I'm speaking on behalf of all the folks who are here in support of Television City's project. I wish you would all stand. I've been asked to speak on all of their behalf in the interest of time. My name is Randy West. I've been a member of SAG-AFTRA for 45 years, and I've worked at Television City on and off for 40 years. It is vital that this project move forward for a number of reasons. First of all, without the amenities that are modern for this 72-year-old facility, we will lose production. We will lose jobs. We will lose the tax base. We will lose the honor of Hollywood having more production and losing our reputation. And you know, the facilities, talking about offices and other things that are planned, for 20 years, Television City did not have office space for The Price is Right, and they were required to do their pre-production work at 6430 Sunset, later at the Wilshire Courtyard, and then get in their individual cars and drive down to Television City. Office space as well as modern facilities are necessary, otherwise we lose production.
You have 1 more minute for public
One more minute, thank you very much, I appreciate that. What I'm saying here is that while this was a state-of-the-art facility 72 years ago, it isn't what it was, and if we are not able to update this facility, we lose the production, we lose the jobs, we lose the tax base, the supporting businesses around it will suffer as a result, and we need to modernize to get it up to speed with standards, you know, without the ability to meet producers' needs. And I mean, all the amenities that are required today, they go elsewhere, not only other states, they go out of the country. And we've seen that. This is a tough time right now with jobs in the industry. I think it's beholden upon us to give the opportunity for this facility to live up to the advanced technology that was part of its building. You know, Elvis Presley, Frank Sinatra, Marilyn Monroe, there's a tremendous legacy here, and without updating it, we lose that, and we lose the protected status of that landmark that's a cultural add to the community. So I thank you very much in support of this program.
Thank you, Mr. West.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Good afternoon. My name is Roseanne Saxon. I'm a native, born in Hollywood, live at Park La Brea, Katy, and full support. That's number one. TVC, the needs of the entertainment industry all in one place, meeting the requirements from the showrunner to the production offices for all departments, for all the writers, set decorators, to the in-house prop, costume departments, editing bays, and 21st century sound stages. That's number one. Check the credits at the end of your favorite TV show and see how many people and departments it takes to produce one show. Bring back the industry and the teams of professionals to this premier studio. State-of-the-art, all-electronic TVC will enhance the neighborhood, plus offering public spaces. Please support the 21st Century TVC project. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Rebecca Ryan. I'm the Western Executive Director of the Directors Guild of America. We represent over 19,000 directors and members of the directorial team across film, television, commercials, documentaries, news, sports, and new media. More than half of our members live in the state of California. I'm here to express our strong support for the TVC studio project. Our industry has vastly changed in the 70 years since Television City first opened its doors, and studios need to be modernized to meet these changing needs and provide key jobs here in Los Angeles. This project is a significant opportunity to bolster Los Angeles as a media and entertainment capital of the world. We cannot just stand by and watch as other states and countries drain our talent pool and render us irrelevant. We can't delay any longer. Our industry needs modern studios here in LA to keep our members employed where they live. At this pivotal moment where construction and runaway production threaten to permanently hollow out our industry in California, we must fight to maintain our historic leadership. We urge the City of Los Angeles to expedite the approval process for this transformative project. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please. Next speaker, please.
My name is Rosalie Wayne. I represent the Beverly Wilshire Homes Association, and I'm a member of Neighbors for Responsible TV City Development. We have always supported the development of a world-class studio, but we do not support this project's extensive non-studio uses, which will overwhelm the surrounding community. This project fails to address any of the neighbors' concerns, such as traffic, neighborhood intrusion, inadequate parking, a sign district, neighborhood light saturation, use of a helicopter pad, number of events per year, and a 200-foot-plus office tower in the middle of a two-story neighborhood. For more specifics, please refer to letters submitted by our attorneys. This project is undefined and irresponsible, Please do not approve it until we have something definitive that will work for all. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Good afternoon. My name is Shonda Walkowitz, and I'm a part of a nonprofit called Hala and Soul. I just want to tell you that I am in 100% full support of TV City Studios because not only if it's going to give us jobs, but it's also going to help with the community engagement and help with our schools. Many schools today have programs that are teaching children to use their imagination, where they have studio equipment. My daughter goes to one of those schools. So please, keep TV City Studios, because it is not only going to give us more jobs, but it's also fostering the imagination and the future of Los Angeles and creative arts and entertainment. Another reason why I'm up here is because long ago, TV City Studios used to do a project where they used to foster children in the community engagement, and they brought in children with disabilities. And TV City Studios basically made a winter wonderland for Christmas for these children in the LA City District. And I thank you.
Thank you. Before the next speaker, just as a reminder, for time purposes, if you've already had a representative speak on your group's behalf, we'd ask that you set aside your time for someone else who may want to also be heard before this committee. Go ahead, speaker.
Shelley Wagers, co-chair, Neighbors for Responsible TVC Development. TVC 2050 more than doubles the mass of Television City, and 85% of the increase, 85%, is office space. Hackman Capital is pitching an office park disguised as a studio expansion. This amid record-level office vacancies and a major shakeout in the entertainment industry. The project is vague and slippery, the specific plan broad and loose. It doesn't take a crystal ball to envision an outsized development with nothing whatever to do with revitalizing the entertainment industry or enhancing a thriving neighborhood. It is not our job or yours to make a reckless investment from 2018 pencil out a decade later. Please send TVC back to the drawing board. Thank you.
Thank you. Before the next speaker, I'd like to call up some more names. Andrew Starles, Anne-Marie Odie, Austin Leach, Annette Vanderlinde, Arnali Ray, Athen Kurtz, Caledonia Hansen, Catherine Clinch, Chase Percadio, Chris Robertson, Chris Wilson, Craig Vanderlinde, Dale Kendall, Danielle Peters, Deborah Bierman, Donald Duckworth, Connor Leach, Elizabeth Rosen, Ernesto Pantoja. Go
Good
ahead,
afternoon,
Speaker.
Chairman Lee, Councilwoman Yaroslavsky, Councilmember De Leon. My name is Stephen Sand. Today I'm speaking as an individual who proudly grew up in the Beverly Fairfax community, graduating from Fairfax High School. When I first saw this project proposed during the COVID pandemic, I was so horrified at the original design, I called into a Zoom meeting to express my shock and opposition. However, I'm thrilled to note that about 4.5 years later, with incredible work, outreach to the community, the help of the council office, and thousands of pieces of input, this is a completely redesigned project that absolutely merits your support. I've heard opponents say, unfortunately, that they think this project will, quote, destroy the Beverly Fairfax community. Respectfully, council members, if you want to know what a destroyed community looks like, you can go to the Rust Belt cities of America where there is no investment, no jobs, no hope, and no future. That is not what this project will do. This project will secure the future of my beloved Beverly Fairfax community, and I urge you to support it. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
My name's Susan Collette, and I've lived in Beverly Grove since 1985. The site at Television City does not have the acreage of Universal Studios or the wide Santa Monica Boulevard of Century City, and should not be given anything close to the same zoning and exemptions. Plus, it would set a precedent for development in the area. Why should this developer be allowed all these massive exemptions when everyone else has had to toe the line? Beverly Grove is one of the most congested areas in the city, and as a transportation engineer with an MS from Berkeley, I've been kind of wondering why anyone would even consider allowing a development of this size in this location. Just an incremental increase in traffic can quickly deteriorate to gridlock. Also, the additional traffic and frustration would be more dangerous for pedestrians. And by the way, eliminating 550,000 square feet from the office space would still give them, the developers, a huge project. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Good afternoon. I'm Anne-Marie Odie. On behalf of the Los Angeles Orange Counties Building and Construction Trades Council, we strongly support the Television City project and urge you to approve the staff recommendations for 9, 10, and 11. Our council represents 160,000 skilled union members, and I am here with representatives of many of our local unions. From a workforce development point of view, Television City is an excellent opportunity. About 15% of our members are apprentices. Everyone is talking now about how great our model of on-the-job training is. But apprentices who earn wages and benefits and pay no tuition need to go to work sites. They need job sites to go to in order to do the work to complete their apprenticeship. Television City will generate hundreds of slots for local Los Angeles residents, many from disadvantaged backgrounds, to join the middle class. We also want to recognize Hackman Capital as a true partner for Los Angeles with this project, and we look forward to building it. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Hello, my name is Dale Kendall, and I'm president of Save Beverly Fairfax. We're a group of neighbors that are directly across the street from Television City. After over 2 years of meeting with Hackman Capital, we're still left with many unanswered questions. We live in a great neighborhood, but traffic is already an issue. 2 decades of construction to build something twice the size as the Beverly Center would make it much worse. Affordable housing is already an issue. Hackman forecasts a workforce of thousands without adding any single unit of housing. Emergency response is already challenging. Even Hackman admits it will only make things worse. We support a studio, but we think that it should be scaled back more to fit into our residential neighborhood. I was born and I grew up there, and I really, really care about our neighborhood. And I think if it was a little bit smaller, it would be helpful. The traffic's already unbearable. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Hello, my name is Elizabeth Rosen. I've been a resident of the Fairfax District for about 35 years. The TVC 2050 project will be double the size of the CryptoCom Arena, crammed between the farmers market and our residential neighborhoods. Even with revisions, the developer still wants a 225-foot office tower, which is 100 feet higher than anything else in the area. This project will forever change the character of our neighborhood, not in a good way. It's already too big. They're asking for 20 years to figure out what else they might build there. We deserve responsible development, not oversized projects that overwhelm our community. And if Hackman cared so much about bringing business back to California, they wouldn't have all their studios around the world, including Toronto and London, that are taking business away from Los Angeles. Thank you.
Thank you. Before the next speaker, I'd like to call some more names. Felicia Varela, Francis Tracht, Gary Helsinger, Helen Lisick, Holly Alsop, Jack Rubens, Jacqueline Cantor, James Panozzo, Jennifer Perante, Jocelyn Cuesta. Ma'am, you've been removed from this committee meeting. Jose Saenz, Juan Luna, Juan Munoz, Laura DeCasto, Laquan Bennett, Manny Salcido, Maria Hoy, Mario Barragan, Martin De La Cruz, Mary Kohov, Iva Vekov, Michael Rosenberg, Michael Shilstone, Michelle Black, Murray Levy. Go ahead, speaker.
Danielle Peters, Beverly Grove resident and co-chair of Neighbors. Our message has been for 2 years consistent. We support TVC 2050, but it is too big. In a city that is struggling to lease empty office space, why would the city approve a project where 86% of the new square footage is office space? Everybody here is talking about this first-class studio, but out of 1.7 million square feet, you are only requiring 150,000 to actually be dedicated to a studio use. The city is not responsible for making this project pencil out for the developer. The city's job is to ensure its compatibility with the community. This is not compatible. We agreed with Councilmember Yaroslavsky's contention that this project needs a big haircut, but this misses the mark. Lack of enforcement has been a documented issue, and we were told repeatedly that Council's office would not set conditions of support for TVC that required city oversight and enforcement. Yet the conditions imposed in Councilmember Yaroslavsky's September 11th letter require both. Please step up and make TVC a project that works for both the developer and the community. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Good afternoon, Chair and members. My name is Chris Wilson with the Los Angeles County Business Federation, known as BizFed. TVC has played an important role in the community and industry for 70 years, and this plan will ensure it remains a world-class studio for decades to come. It will create thousands of jobs and new good-paying jobs during construction and operations while building modern, technologically advanced sound stages so production stays here in LA and our city remains creative capital of the world. We can't risk diminishing our entertainment industry any further with productions moving out of state due to lack of studio and production spaces in LA. This project will meet this demand and preserve the studio's historic resources on site. Please join BizFed and the business community in support of this project. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Good afternoon. My name is Felisa Varela, and I'm a resident of the Beverly Fairfax area. And I suffer from heavy traffic and congestions right now where I live. Between the hours of 7:30 and 8:30, I cannot get out of my home to go either to Beverly or to 3rd Street. When I come home between the hours of 3 o'clock and 6 o'clock, I can't get back into my driveway. I need to have my hand pointed out. People are honking behind me because there is a lot of traffic. One time I was stopped in front of my driveway because a lady was walking her child. A car drove around another car and almost hit me. This is just happening now. I can only imagine what this will happen even worse when there is more traffic.
Thank you. Before the next speaker, I'd like to call some more names. Nicole Kukluk-Waldman, Paul Moreno, Peter Hayden, Rabbi Hershey Ten, Catherine Werner, Kim Feder, Michelle Safroth, Mo Sabhe, Tara Konsari, Tim Christian, Timothy Wong, Tony Budrick, Walker Savage, William Jordan II, William Meyerchuk, Clara Solis, Doug Haynes, Maria Coronado, Alicia Bartley, Alpo Jabarian, Bart Young. Go ahead, speaker.
Hello, council members. My name is Helen Lessick, and I've been a resident of the Beverly Fairfax neighborhood for the past 11 years. I actually live about a block and a half from this proposed development. The TVC project as proposed is simply too big for our community. And I ask you to consider that we are not against development, that we are for community creativity, and we are for good union jobs. But we are also for a viable and exciting neighborhood. I ask you to really consider whether you want to allow a variance of 750,000 cubic yards of soil to be removed, of changing the ordinance so we don't have neighborhood community zoning, or limited community zoning, but only community commercial zoning. There's a request to change the signage, to change the lighting and height ordinance. These are really examples of how the project is too big for our press.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Hello, my name is Laura DeCasto, and I've been a resident of Beverly Fairfax for 16 years. The long-term construction impacts of the TVC 2050 project are simply too much for our community to bear. Hackman is asking us to deal with 20 years of noise, disruption, road closures, and air pollution. They're planning over 100,000 trips with 20-ton trucks hauling hundreds of thousands of tons of dirt and hazardous materials through our neighborhoods. 20 years is not reasonable from a planning perspective, and it's certainly not fair to our community. We're asking the developer and the city to reduce this to a defined 36-month construction period. Our community deserves better. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Good afternoon. My name is Tim Christian with Air Communities, owner of 4 apartment communities housing more than 3,000 people near the TVC site, including Broadcast Center Apartments, the only homes directly adjacent to TVC. This development will negatively affect the quality of life for our residents at a time when the city needs more, not less, quality housing. The plan would allow 14-story buildings directly west of our 5-story apartment building, shadowing our homes, eliminating cherished views, and the opportunity for rooftop solar. The proposed new truck route, parking garage, and production studios adjacent to our building will create significantly more loud, disruptive traffic, loading and unloading. This will impact our peaceful living environment, and as will enduring 20 years of construction. Many of our concerns could be addressed by design changes which the developer has refused to entertain. We urge you to pause this project and provide leadership to craft a workable plan that has broad-based support. Without that, the plan may be subject to years of litigation and delay. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Hello, my name is Doug Gaines. I'm here to speak actually on the agenda items for Hollywood alcohol uses. That's agenda items number 1 and 3. Number 1 is an appeal by Casey Madron of a residential building operating several floors of unsupervised liquor dispensers in impromptu bars. The building was approved with a 70% density bonus, but the owners haven't been filling the 20 affordable units. Instead, they're setting aside units as short-term rentals for corporate clients. The bars were never mentioned in the environmental review, and the rejection of poor people sheds an ugly light on the city's lack of a waiting list for affordable units, instead allowing, unfortunately, rampant extortion and bribery, and developers who would rather leave the units vacant because they don't like the people applying for them. On a number 3, and please, I would ask the council members if you could actually listen to what I'm saying, because this is important. Number 3 is an appeal by my neighbor, Seta Panosian, of a 230-seat bar restaurant located 5 feet from an elementary school. I've represented this area for the neighborhood council for 17 years, and I live half a block from the site. When the project was first proposed, we were told it would be for commercial space that would be medical offices, not bars. LAPD has strongly opposed any alcohol at this site. The school principal and staff and parents submitted over 100 petitions against the alcohol request. The ZA denied the alcohol request, saying it would be too intense for the area. The Central Area Planning Commission chair strongly opposed overruling the ZA, saying there was no compelling evidence to do so. Unfortunately, the other members of the commission overruled the ZA based on economic matters, not on the objections related to the alcohol at all. This demands an MND to mitigate the impacts. Please support the appeal in our community so that we don't have to deal with this in a negative light. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Good afternoon, Nicole Kuklak-Waldman. On behalf of Collaborate, I represent the neighbors. Just so we're clear and in full disclosure, the Gilmore Company is supporting the neighbors and paying me, but that's all disclosed to the Ethics Commission. I represent the neighbors and know that I really do support growth and development of the city. The neighbors have requested the elimination of 500,000 square feet from this project rightfully, and that's confirmed by what Council Office just requested, a 7.5% set aside for studio uses, acknowledging that 92.5% of this 2 million square foot site is going to be an office park. It is worth noting that this project has suffered from a number of deficiencies of notice and access to documents that were not provided as required by the Brown Act. Our supporters were locked out of the Planning Commission hearing and were not given an opportunity to speak at the hearing, and were forced to wait hours outside of City Hall with no seating, bathroom access, or water, while TVC 2050 supporters magically accessed City Hall. Many of our members are elderly and use public transportation. This was not okay. The specific plan continues this trend by clearly depriving the community of chances to assess changes or modifications to the site at all. Thank you very much, and we hope you'll reconsider this. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Good afternoon. My name is Walker Savage. I'm a fifth-generation Gilmore family member, and I'm the manager of the original farmers market. The property has been under my family's stewardship for more than 140 years. I'm here today speaking for both the Gilmore family and the nearly 90 small business owners that make up the market. In September, more than a dozen market business owners joined me and nearly 100 other community members to voice our opposition to the TV City project as it is currently proposed. Most of our participants were forced to wait on the sidewalk in the September sun for 3.5 hours and were not allowed into the hearing room until after most of the proceedings had finished. This included one shop owner that was 9 months pregnant. Since many of the merchants were not given ample opportunity to speak in September, I am here to tell you how hard they work for every customer. Really, this is about scale. I am also here to tell you that we are here to support the redevelopment next door, but not at the scale that is set to dwarf the original farmers market. The size of the project that Hackman Capitals is proposing is too big. Our merchants will be adversely affected by the increase in gridlock traffic to what is already a very congested part of the city, ultimately driving our customers away. Please have the developer cut TV City down to an appropriate size, one that is befitting the neighborhood and the scale of what exists currently there. Thank you.
Thank you. Before the next speaker, I'd like to call the remaining 20 names. Araceli Bolaños, Ben Ansari, Bo Swenson, Carmen Kahlberg, Casey Madrin, Cindy Young, Connor Leach, Donald Harlan, Elizabeth Peterson, Enrique Gaspar, Frank Weiser, Imelda Ochoa, Larry Mondragon, Richard Burns, Seta Panosian, Todd Nelson, Tony Chen, and William Thurmond. Go ahead, speaker.
Clara Solis, speaking on behalf of the Historic Highland Park Neighborhood Council, we have submitted a community impact statement. We're speaking on item 13 at 3601 Mission. The Historic Highland Park Neighborhood Council is opposed to this project. We support the appeal. This project will negatively impact Northeast Los Angeles and our stakeholders' use of Lincoln Park, Plaza de la Raza, and Las Memorias. We are concerned that the soil on a neighboring property was found to be toxic. The phase 2 testing on lead was flawed. The methodology for taking soil samples does not comply with the practices outlined by the EPA or DTSC. Soil samples should be taken 2 to 4 inches, not 5 feet. Please require adequate testing be done. I spoke with Dr. Jill Johnson today, and she said these concerns are valid. She's with USC and did testing on Exide. Additionally, because of this methodology error, it calls into question whether the other results obtained were taken according to government standards. The City Council should require additional independent testing. Should you allow this project to go forward without proper testing, you could be allowing contamination to be spread throughout the neighborhood. Especially vulnerable communities are the children who attend preschool across the street at Amistad Preschool and our children who play in Lincoln Park. Dr. Jill Johnston of USC's research has found lead contamination in many neighborhoods beyond the initial cleanup area for Exide. The testing done by the developer for lead is not adequate and should be redone. This project is massively out of scale and out of character for one of the oldest neighborhoods in LA. The project is not intended for the local and longtime residents. It will impact the natural ecosystem, the historic nature, and based on patterns and research may lead to further displacement of working class individuals and people of color. A 7-story building with 180 units is unsustainable for the ecosystem and land. A staggering 80% of luxury units in the proposed development will not help the housing crisis in a district currently grappling with the highest amount of eviction notices in all of Los Angeles. Longtime residents of Lincoln Heights, many of whom belong to the working class and come from extremely low income backgrounds, feel increasingly marginalized. With 36,000 plus unhoused unit residents, LA has 93,000 units sitting vacant. Thousands of luxury units are empty. We do not have a housing crisis, we have an affordable housing crisis. More luxury development is not the answer. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Good afternoon. My name is Mo Sehebi. This is regarding item 12. This is Castle Mall homeowners. This project is on landslide, and the issue is if something happened during construction and that fragile bulkhead fails, there is no plan B. Who is going to foot the bill for reconstructing that bulkhead that was constructed 54 years ago and hasn't been rehabbed since then? Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. My name is Maria Coronado with Western States Carpenters. Today I'm speaking on item number 13, the 3601 Mission Road project. As someone who lives and works in the local vicinity of the project, I want to express my concerns and offer a perspective rooted in both personal experience and the needs of our community. I know firsthand how critical it is to address environmental impacts caused by construction. This project will affect my daily life and the lives of others in the area, making it essential to ensure it is developed responsibly and equitably. The city should require the project contractors to hire local residents, pay prevailing wages, and utilize apprentices from state-certified apprenticeship programs. As someone who has had the privilege of building a career through a state-certified apprenticeship program, I can attest to how life-changing these opportunities are. They provide a pathway to the middle class, offering stability and a sense of pride in one's work. More women and men in our community deserve this chance to achieve meaningful careers while supporting their families. Workforce requirements reduce environmental impacts. The South Coast Air Quality Management District recently found that local hire requirements can result in air pollutant reductions. Workforce requirements boost the local economy and encourage workforce development. Apprenticeships train the next generation of skilled workers, create a lasting positive impact on our workforce. This also aligns with...
Please finish your
Could
sentence.
I finish it with public comment? This state of California has reinforced its commitment to workforce development and housing affordability through legislation like the Affordable Housing and High Road Jobs Act of 2022, Assembly Bill number 2011. This law emphasizes the importance of paying workers a prevailing wage, hiring from state-certified apprenticeship programs for projects that meet specific affordability and development standards. By aligning this project with these workforce requirements, we can ensure it benefits both the environment and our local community while supporting California's broader goals. I strongly encourage the city to prioritize these factors, carefully considering both the potential harm and the possibility of significant benefits for the local community as a whole. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Good afternoon. My name is Apo Jubarian. In general, I'm in support of projects that enhance the quality of life.
Which item you're speaking to?
Beg pardon?
Which item?
Item number 3.
Okay.
I am in favor of the proposed Grapevine a restaurant at 5243-5245 West Santa Monica Boulevard, and managed by PTAG Properties and the Peter Taglian family. And I'd like to urge you to deny the CEQA appeal and approve this wonderful project, granting them conditional use permit for the sale of a full line of alcoholic beverages. As a resident of the neighborhood, I believe firmly and strongly that projects like this will most definitely contribute to the beautification of our neighborhood and contribute to the creation of jobs and enhance the number of visitors to the area. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Good afternoon. My name is Rabbi Heshi Ten. I am the president of the Jewish Healthcare Foundation, also known as Bikur Cholim. We are one of the largest healthcare charities on the West Coast, serving the most vulnerable and marginalized individuals in the city of Los Angeles. We are located next to TVC, and I am here today as a stakeholder and resident of the Beverly Fairfax La Brea community for over 40 years. Los Angeles is trading closely to mirroring cities like Detroit, Portland, and San Francisco, void of growth and excitement. TVC is a very important step in the right direction for Los Angeles' future and will improve the quality of life in our city. Stores and restaurants will once again flourish, crime will be diminished, and strollers and people and families will be on the streets day in and day out. I know many at the Hackman Capital team for many years, Mike Hackman, Zach Sokoloff. They are honorable and dedicated to restoring Los Angeles to once again being the entertainment envy of the world. It is for this reason I ask for your support of Television City Project. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Hello. I'd like to ask a question first. Where are the representatives from CD11? They're not here? Okay. I'm going to make a comment on item 24-0339. It's the Ravello Tremonto Development Project on an active landslide, and we're here to urge the City of LA to require a site-specific EIR be conducted, not a housing element EIR, that has been talked about and actually supported, to our knowledge, by CD11 prior to today. And the reasons that a housing element EIR is not adequate: number one, it does not comply with CEQA law. Number two, a housing element does not assess the risks that are posed by the development on an active landslide and in a very high fire severity district. Did I do that right? Okay. Here's the thing. We will not all get out.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay? If we have an emergency, we won't get out.
Next speaker,
if
please. Thank you,
PCH
speaker. Your time's expired. Next speaker, please.
Young for Castellamar homeowners regarding the Tremonto landslide. I am asking that you proceed today to grant us a full EIR on this active landslide. By active, we mean it's a river underground that continues for 100,000 years. It dates back. This will be a bigger disaster than Palos Verdes. It bleeds onto the Coast Highway. Caltrans agrees the entire landslide needs to be mitigated, and we need the full EIR. Our councilwoman Park has asked that it go back to planning. That is a bunch of hooey. It is a mistake. We need the full EIR. Thank you for your time today.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Good afternoon, Catherine Werner on behalf of the Miramar Homeowners Association on item 12, please. We strongly oppose the current proposed development on the Tremonto landslide. It is reckless for the city to consider construction on an active landslide without fully addressing the surrounding instability. Given these serious risks involved, we are demanding a site-specific EIR for this project. To proceed without such an EIR would be irresponsible and a failure on the part of the city to protect its residents. We understand the city's desire to generate revenue through development, but the risks posed by building in a landslide-prone area, such as the Tremonto site, are far too high. The recent history of landslide damage in Palos Verdes, or much closer to home, the costly $16 million settlement on the property at 412 Paseo Miramar, should serve as a stark reminder in the potential consequences of poorly considered development in such areas. For the safety of the community, the protection of surrounding homes, and the well-being of thousands of commuters daily on PCH, we respectfully request that you take immediate action to ensure a site-specific EIR. Thank you very much.
Next speaker, please.
Good afternoon. Ivo Vankov, architect and general contractor on behalf of the Lower Castellamare neighborhood. Please refer to all our letters to ZA and West LA APC. The projects as proposed violate the zoning intent of the LAMC for starters. Being on an active landslide, they do absolutely warrant a complete and independent EIR, not an inadequate housing element one, but a thorough site-specific EIR. Condemning Ravello not to be connected in the future, depriving adjacent homeowners from access, essentially privatizing large portion of Tremonto public right-of-way, violating fundamental CEQA requirements, grossly breaching the CPRC by illegally overriding state fire mandates, and endangering the Tremonto bulkhead, neighborhood, and PCH traffic, as well as neglecting the big picture of a massive landslide in favor of partial spot stabilization. These are just a few of the overlooked or simply mismanaged aspects of the project. The overall stability, Tremonto, Ravello drives, fire access, and all local infrastructure rebuilt before this development is being addressed. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Thank you. Good afternoon. I'm Carmen Kahlberg. I live in the Castellamare Mesa. As a result of the winter storms earlier this year, the toe of the active landslide, known as a Tremonto slide, slid down onto the Pacific Coast Highway. The right northbound lane was closed for nearly 4 months due to landslide debris covering the road. This closure of this lane caused a traffic nightmare on an already congested highway. The proposed development is located at the very top of this active slide. Caltrans has advised that the unstable nature of the slide requires that repairs start from the top of the active slide. The City of Los Angeles has jurisdiction over the entire area and must stabilize the slide before Caltrans can continue with repairs to the toe on PCH. The developer's MND indicates that the only portion of the slide that will be stabilized are the parcels in which they build the homes. Therefore, thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Hi, I'm Michelle Shafroth, also from the Castellamare Mesa Homeowners Association, and regarding item 12, and I'm opposed to the development of the proposed projects on an active landslide. The houses that were there slid down into PCH a long time ago, and the city paid for a study, the URS study, some 10 years ago, which concluded that the site is not appropriate for residential development. The city is being irresponsible in allowing this development to proceed. The bulkhead is fragile. It was erected on an emergency basis and has not been reinforced, and that holds up our street. Please require a site-specific EIR for this particular development. Thank you.
Next speaker, please.
Hello, my name is Bo Svensson. My wife and I have been residents of Pacific Palisades for the past 50 years. I'm here to learn how it is that our mayor and members of the city council have been dazzled by phantom numbers legalese, and the prospect of tens of millions of dollars being spent on this and that, ignoring the very fact that the proposed plans jeopardize not only the 270 homes on Casa Lamar, but hundreds of homes on the adjacent hills, as well as the safety of the 40,000 commuters on PCH every day. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Good afternoon. I'm Frank Weiser. I'm the attorney for the appellants on item number 6, the Highlight Motel. You called my name.
We'll call you when the item is before us.
Yeah, so I'll reserve my comments for the hearing.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Hello, my name is Scott Bergman. I'm here to speak on behalf of the owners of the Highlight Hotel, Tony Chen. They've written a statement I'd like to read for them. Your Honor, members of the court, thank you for allowing me to speak today. I'm here to explain the efforts my hotel has made to follow the law and help the community and work with the police. For 6 years, I've worked closely with Officer Tyson Hamoka, and I've helped him by sharing information, stopping crimes, and even helping with arrests. I've always been ready to help the police and do my part to improve safety in the area. To follow these police requirements, we've installed 2 advanced security systems. These cameras run 24 hours a day and cover every corner of the hotel and nearby streets. The footage from these cameras has helped the police investigate crimes in the area. We also added stronger iron doors, better lighting, and clear signs in the hotel parking lot and all the rooms. Even with these efforts, our hotel faces problems that are not our fault. Bus station fights. There are often fights in the bus station next to our hotel. These fights are not caused by us or on our property, but the police records them as if they happened at our hotel. Homeless individuals.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Afternoon. My name is William Thurman. I'm here on behalf of the Highlight Motel. I'm the security there, and you guys have sent us notices. And since I've been there, the crime has come down. We still have some issues, but we've come to where you guys want us to have everything in order. We have it in order, but at the same time, the neighbors are still complaining, but we're going as fast as we can, doing what we have to do. Police services, so we ask you guys to not shut us down. We still service our neighborhood. Thank you.
Next speaker, please.
Hi, I'm speaking on item 6 and public comment. My name is Enrique Gaspar. I work with Community Coalition, and we're working to build a better place to live in South Los Angeles. When I go to talk to the people in the area of the Highlight Motel, 103rd and Broadway, the first thing that people is complaining is about the business that are happening in the area. Moreover, there is a high school that is just 2 blocks from the motel, and you can imagine all the things that these kids that are going in the morning and then coming back to their homes have to face every day. So talking to these people is like a big concern. The function of this Motel Highlight, what is happening there is prostitution, drug addiction, crime, shootings. Just you gotta see the report of the police of the last 5 years of the calls that they have been for that motel. So we hope the license for that motel to operate be canceled. Thank you.
Buenas tardes.
Good evening.
Mi nombre es Araceli Bolaños, soy
My
miembro
name
de
is
Community
Araceli
Coalition.
Bolaños.
En sus siglas dice COCO.
I am a member of the coalition that it says COCO.
Estoy aquí por el asunto 6. Estamos aquí porque hemos batallado mucho por cerrarle la licencia a los moteles que están en la Figueroa y hemos logrado muy poco, pero sí lo hemos logrado. Ahora queremos...
Permítame, I'm here to talk about number 6. We have been struggle to close and remove the license for the hotel that is on Figueroa.
Ahora queremos y estamos luchando por cerrar el highlight de que está en la 103 y la Broadway.
We are here to ask you to close the highlight and the Broadway.
Ya que hemos luchado con sacar firmas, hemos caminado junto con muchos comunitarios, con madres de familia, padres de familia que viven en ese sector, que han afectado mucho a las escuelas que están ahí cercanas.
We have talked and obtained signatures from many people who are there and living around the places.
Hemos visto que hay muchas personas que han andado por esas calles vendiendo droga, haciéndole problema a los padres de familia, a los niños que van a esas escuelas, y queremos que ustedes nos ayuden para poder cerrarles la licencia a ese motel.
There are many people who are in the area selling drugs, and evidently there have been troubles with parents and children, and we are here to help you to remove the license from that motel.
Queremos tener algo bueno en ese sector de ese motel y en esa ciudad. Gracias.
We want to get something good in that specific area and from that motel. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Buenas tardes, estoy aquí por el asunto 6. Yo soy Imelda Ochoa, vengo representando Coco. Nosotros hemos trabajado en la comunidad 103 y Broadway.
I am here to talk about number 6. My name is Imelda Ochoa, and I am also part of COCO.
Estuvimos recogiendo firmas y oyendo las quejas de nuestra comunidad y de los padres.
We have been gathering signatures and hearing the complaints of the community and also from parents.
Uno de los principales problemas que afectan aquí es el motel Highlight.
One of the main problems that affect this area is the motel Highlight.
Porque nuestros estudiantes tienen que pasar por esa área y mirar todo lo que aquí hay alrededor de este motel.
Because our students have to pass by that area and they have to look at everything that happens in that motel.
Como robos, drogadicción, prostitución y demás. Y nosotros no queremos eso para nuestra comunidad.
There are like smuggling and drugs and prostitution in the area, and we do not want that for our community.
Queremos un mejor ambiente y el motel no es lo que queremos ahí. Gracias.
We want a better environment, and the motel is not what we want there. Thank you.
Good evening, Council. My name is Richard Burns. I'm a representative of the Western States Regional Council of Carpenters. I will be adding comment on item 2. The project should require labor standards. A responsible developer should be able to pay living wages for the area. Too many times, projects like this have been a sore eye for Angelenos when it comes to wage theft. Los Angeles needs housing projects like this so we can not only build projects, but also live and recreate in Echo Park. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Hi, my name is Casey Madron. I'm here to speak, give public comment on item number 3. I'd like to speak in support of the appeal. The appeal should be supported because a liquor license for a proposed 230-seat restaurant with 44 outdoor seats in a building located 5 feet from the elementary school is not a good idea. The LAPD is opposed to this project based on the history of incidents already at this site. I urge you to uphold the appeal for item number 3.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Good afternoon. My name is Connor Leach. I'm here to speak on item number 3. As a local resident that lives in the neighborhood along Santa Monica Boulevard, I express my strong support for the proposed Grapevine restaurant and to approve the permit for a full line of alcoholic beverages. Its operation, along with the implementation of dedicated security guards to monitor the restaurant and the building, will greatly enhance the much-needed public security along Santa Monica Boulevard. It will create jobs, stimulate the local economy, and revitalize historic Route 66 in East Hollywood. Other new local restaurants, including Safi's and Bar Etoile, have been recently approved for liquor licenses, which has greatly enhanced the community. Denying the CEQA appeal and approving this permit will contribute to the overall improvement of our community and the best interest for our neighborhood. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Hello, my name is Austin, and I'm speaking on number 3 as well. As a local resident, I 100% fully support a liquor license for the Grapevine Restaurant. Time Out has just ranked East Hollywood as the 26th coolest neighborhoods in the world due to its growing culinary scene. LA Eatery says it's one of the hottest boomtowns in LA, but if you walk down the stretch of Santa Monica Boulevard from the 101 to Silver Lake, it's almost a complete ghost town. So why would this one area be neglected from this whole boomtown? There's plenty of infrastructure to support a high-end restaurant and bar with the Red Line subway stop, a bus stop right in front of the restaurant. It's right off the 101. This will make the block and neighborhood a safer, friendlier place to live, add local jobs, and promote sustainable urbanization in an already very dense neighborhood. Santa Monica Boulevard deserves a fully revitalization into its glory as a business and retail corridor as it was 100 years ago. Thank you.
Thank you, Speaker. Mr. Chair, that exhausts all members of the public.
All right, thank you again for everybody who joined us today. In Plum Committee, we have a long agenda, so I'm trying to get through as many items as possible. Before I move on to the consent calendar, I'm going to have to continue items number 16 and 18. And unless there's any objection from either of my colleagues, I'd like to take items 4, 5, 7, 8, 14, 15, 17, 19 on consent. Seeing no objection, I will read those items, the recommendations for those items. For item number 4, approve the zone change ordinance and the environmental clearance, the categorical exemption from CEQA and related CEQA findings, conditions of approval, and project findings, all attached to the South Valley Area Planning Commission report dated October 10th, 2024. Mr. Mejia, can you please call the roll on that item?
Yes, Mr. Lee,
Aye.
Ms. Hutt absent, Ms. Jaroslavsky,
Yes.
Ms. Padilla absent, and Mr. De Leon. Aye. That's 3 ayes, and that item is approved, sir.
Mr. Mejia, do I have to take all the items, or can I take them all together, read all the recommendations, and then vote on them
I
as
think
a
you could
group?
read the recommendations, and we take a unanimous vote on all of them.
Okay. For item number 5, I'm going to ask this committee to deny the appeal filed by Hellman Sarsher, and thereby sustain the zoning administrator's determination to continue to impose corrective conditions to mitigate land use impacts caused by the use of the Globe Theater for the property located at 740 South Broadway, and adoption of project findings, inasmuch as the appellant has withdrawn their appeal in a communication dated November 19th, 2024 that has been uploaded to council file number 24-1049. For item number 7, my recommendation, colleagues, is to approve the city administrative officer's recommendation in its report dated October 30th, 2024, to authorize the director of planning to execute an amendment to the grant agreement with the Getty Conservation Institute to extend the agreement by 3 years through June 14th, 2027, and reduce the grant aware amount to $67,500 to further the work of Survey LA on the African American Historic Places Framework Project, and then receive and file the Planning Department report dated October 16th, 2024. For item number 8, my recommendations will be to approve the zone change ordinance and adjustment to permit a front yard setback and the environmental clearance, a categorical exemption from CEQA as recommended in North Valley Area Planning Commission report dated October 22nd, 2024, subject to conditions of approval and adoption of project findings. Item number 15 is to just adopt the motion. Item number 17, my recommendation is to approve the inclusion of St. Elmo Village located at 4820 to 4846 West Street, Elmo Drive, in the city's list of historical cultural monuments. Item 19 will be to adopt the motion.
Deputy City Attorney Amy Brothers, council member.
I'm sorry?
How about item 14?
Yeah,
which is
item
just-
14, I'm getting that. Item 14, my recommendation will be to request the city attorney to prepare and present 3 draft ordinances Number 1, landscape and site design ordinance. Number 2, rescission of the landscape ordinance, ordinance number 170978. Number 3, code amendment to add the television city zone for the properties located at 7716 to 7860 Beverly Boulevard. Number 2, to instruct the city administrative officer to prepare a report as to the fiscal impact of the proposed fees for the landscape and site design ordinance. Mr. Mejia, can you call the roll on those items, please?
Yes, so item 14, sir, just to clarify, that item has to do with a proposed landscape and site design ordinance. Just wanted to be clear on the recommendation. I think you read something into the record that relates to a different project. So just wanted to clarify that recommendation. If you give me a second, let me look at my notes. Item 14. So on item 14, I think you included an additional recommendation as it relates to the television city zone project. I will repeat the recommendation.
I apologize, Mr. Mejia. Can you read the recommendations I gave
Yes,
to you
sir.
earlier?
So I think it's simply to request the city attorney to prepare and present 3 draft ordinances as it relates to the, sorry. This is the confusion. The recommendation will be to request the city attorney to prepare and present 2 draft ordinances. One on the landscape and site design ordinance, and the second one, a rescission of the landscape ordinance, the existing one, number 170978. And the second instruction is to instruct the city administrative officer to prepare a report as to the fiscal impact of the proposed fees for the landscape and site design ordinance. I think two items got.
I understand. I understand my mistake here.
So
Mr. Mejia.
the items, sir, that you read into the record were items 4, 5, 7, 8, 14, 15, 17, and 19 on consent.
That is correct.
Okay, and if you like, I can call the roll, sir.
Please.
Okay. Mr. Lee.
Aye.
Ms. Hutt is absent. Ms. Yaroslavsky.
Yes.
Ms. Padilla absent, and Mr. De Leon.
Aye.
That's 3 ayes, and those items are adopted, sir. Oh, and in addition, sir, items 16 and 18, there was a request to continue those, I believe.
I'm sorry?
I think you also stated that you wanted to continue.
Yeah, I'd like to continue items number 16 and 18 to the next available plum meeting. Do we have to
Okay.
call the roll on that item?
Yes, so
Okay.
I will call the roll on those continuances for the next meeting. Mr. Lee?
Aye.
Ms. Hutt is absent. Ms. Yaroslavsky?
Yes.
Ms. Padilla absent, and Mr. De Leon.
Aye.
And those items are continued, sir, 16 and 18.
All right, thank you, Mr. Mejia. Seeing as we have a lot of people here to, sorry.
My apologies for interrupting you, sir. The next plum meeting is scheduled for January the 7th, 2025.
Thank you, Mr. Mejia.
And-
Okay.
and items 16 and 18 are continued to that date.
Thank you very much. Seeing as we have a lot of people here, I know, to speak on items 9, 10, and 11, let's take those items together. Mr. Mejia, can you call those into the record?
Yes, so for items, they're all related. So item 9 is inclusive of the environmental clearance and the erratum and the mitigation monitoring program, the statement of overriding considerations. Item 9 contains 6 appeals in opposition to the vesting track map. And also it's inclusive of a haul route. And item number 10, this item again contains the environmental clearance, the mitigation monitoring program, all the statement of overriding considerations. And this one relates to a resolution for a general plan amendment a vesting zone and height district change. It's proposing to annex a portion of the project site from an unincorporated LA County to the city of LA, and also a code amendment to add the television city zone, establishment of the television city specific plan, and in addition, the establishment of the television city sign district. And number 11, again, inclusive of all the environmental clearances as previously stated, and this one is a recommendation from the Planning Commission relative to a proposed development agreement for the provision of public benefits for 20 years by and between the city and Television City Studios, LLC.
Is that for all the items?
Yes, sir, that's 9, 10, and 11.
Thank you so much. I believe we have the planning department here for a brief presentation on this item.
Sure.
Brief.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and get started. Good afternoon, council members of the Plum Committee. This is Paul Caparoso with the Department of City Planning. There are 3 items before you today. The first, under council file number 24-1315, 6 second-level appeals of the vesting tentative tract map, all of whom have had previously submitted first-level appeals of the map. The second is under council file number 24-13-S1, the legislative request for a general plan amendment, zone change, height district change, code amendment, specific plan and sign district. And the third under council file number 24-1315-S2, the legislative request for a development agreement. The issues raised in the second level VTT appeals are substantially similar to those raised in the first level appeals and are fully responded to in planning staff's appeal response report dated November 27, 2024, submitted to the council file. Additionally, planning staff submitted a letter to Plum dated November 27, 2024, detailing requested modifications and corrections to council file numbers 24-13-S1 and S2, identifying minor revisions to the entitlement findings, specific plan, sign district, and development agreement. As such, staff recommends the Plum Committee do the following. For item number 9, certify the environmental impact report and deny the second level tract appeals. Second, for item number 10, approve the general plan amendment, zone change, height district change, code amendment, specific plan, and sign district with the requested modifications from planning and the council office. Third, for item 11, approve the development agreement with the requested modifications from planning. This concludes staff presentation. We are available for any questions. Thank you.
Okay. At this time, I'd like to ask the appellants to present their appeals. We have 6. We have the Grove, Peter Hayden on behalf of A.F. Gilmore, Patty Schwader on behalf of Mayor Beverly Park Limited Partnership, Save Beverly Fairfax, Beverly Wilshire Homes Association, and Daniel Peters on behalf of Neighbors for Responsible TVC Development. Please, as you come up to speak, you have 3 minutes. Please identify yourself.
Good evening. My name is Amy Mintier with Karstens Black and Mintier on behalf of Save Beverly Fairfax. Like the overwhelming majority of the community members here today, we support modernizing the TVC production facilities and ensuring adequate studio space, but firmly believe such a project must include clear regulations for future uses and mitigate impacts to the surrounding community. Here, the TVC 2050 project is requesting multiple discretionary approvals and significant deviations from city standards as part of the project, and includes acknowledged significant adverse air quality and construction impacts, as well as other impacts on this community. The City Council is not required to approve everything the project proponent is requesting, and should only approve this project if it has been conditioned to be the least impactful and most beneficial project for the community that it can be, while still providing the needed production and studio updates. To that end, Save Beverly Fairfax believes there are several reasonable revisions and conditions the council should require for the project that would reduce a number of impacts and provide substantial community benefits. First, we appreciate the revisions to the project that steps back the significant height of development along Fairfax Avenue. A similar step back should be included along Beverly Boulevard to allow this project to better integrate with the surrounding community, including the National Register listed Beverly Fairfax Historic District. Additionally, the amount of general office uses that could be developed should be reduced, and should be included only as conditionally allowable uses, with a requirement for discretionary approval if and when such a use is proposed in the future. Such a requirement would incentivize studio production uses that are supported by the community while providing a path for other uses if necessary to support the production uses. Updated environmental documentation also shows that production uses have less traffic, GHG, and other impacts as compared to general office. Thus, incentivizing those uses reduces impacts to the community. We also appreciate that the proposed development agreement provides funding for traffic mitigation. However, analysis of cut-through traffic and methods for mitigating that impact have been deferred. We urge the city to prepare an assessment of traffic mitigations and their costs to provide assurance to the community that there will be adequate funding to address these impacts before entering into any development agreement with the project proponent. Operational restrictions that reduce impacts on the community should also be included, such as prohibiting fireworks, setting restrictions on the number, size, and hours of operation for any outdoor events and use of the site, and setting strict limits on the use of the helipad. Further, we believe expanding the routes of the shuttle service and allowing use by the general public would help reduce the traffic gridlock in this area, and that will be made significantly worse by the project. We also understand there were conditions from CD5 that were identified today. We were unable to hear all of them during the presentation, but look forward to reviewing them further, as it's our understanding those will also help to improve the project. Thank you.
Sorry, who are you representing?
Save Beverly Fairfax.
Good evening, council members. Michelle Black of the law firm Carson's Black and Mintier, here on behalf of the Beverly Wilshire Homes Association, a nonprofit organization of property owners, residents, and businesses that has sought to improve the quality of life in the community since 1956. You've seen our legal concerns, which we share with the other appellants. The project was too ill-defined at the draft DIR stage for adequate and meaningful CEQA review, as in the Millennium case. Nothing in CEQA permits the errata used here. CEQA mitigation is deferred and speculative. You've also already seen our planning concerns. The specific plan lacks the requisite specificity. It amounts to a blank check developer giveaway for 1.7 million square feet of development with interchangeable uses, 220-foot height limits, and very limited city oversight going forward. Once approved, project approvals and changes to the project will be largely at the discretion of the applicant and the director. You've also seen our concerns about whether this is really a studio project. The project does not actually require office uses to be studio related, although we would like them to be. We support retaining and growing production in Los Angeles. Our written comments are on the record, and we still stand by them. But that's not why we're here today. We're here today on behalf of the community that will bear the brunt of the 1.7 million square feet of new development, a community that was largely shut out of the CPC hearing. We're here today to emphasize your discretion to condition this project to preserve these neighborhoods. We very much appreciate the council members' efforts to make this project more community-friendly, the height stepbacks, the traffic mitigation funding, and the prioritization of studio uses for office space. These changes are important, and we want to make sure that they are specific, enforceable, and implemented as envisioned. A new traffic study must be performed to ensure that the amount of funding committed to community traffic and safety improvements is adequate to construct those improvements. We all know traffic circles are expensive. The prioritization of office space for studio needs must be enforceable. Non-studio office space could be made a conditional use. Studio shuttle use will also more readily reach VMT and congestion targets and integrate the project into the community if the public is allowed to use it, and the public has asked to. The community asked for additional project modifications to limit impacts, including limits on the helicopter use. I live next to an airport, and I do have to listen to dignitaries being ferried around LA, but this community doesn't, and they shouldn't have to. I know there was a condition on this, but I couldn't quite hear the details, so thank you for engaging with that. Notice of special events being held at the studio, and limits on the hours of those outdoor events, and we do thank CD5 for limiting the frequency. That is important. And assurance that the sign district frontage along Beverly and Fairfax does not further diminish views of the night sky. Thank you very much for your consideration. You do have the discretion to condition this project so it meets studio production needs without harming the community, and we appreciate your use of this authority. Thank you.
Good evening, honorable council members. Chris Robertson on behalf of The Grove. The Grove strongly supports the entertainment industry. We also support reinvigorating the Television City property. However, the development must be compatible with the surrounding community and consistent with the city's assumptions and its own EIR. The TVC project will have significant impacts on the immediate community, including the Grove, especially on traffic access and circulation that will create hazards in our area. The TVC project is not suitable for the property or the neighborhood. For the reasons set forth in the appeals and the hundreds of comments submitted on the TVC project, we respectfully request that you recommend granting the appeals and denying the project. Our counsel, Maria Hoy, will elaborate further on some of these points.
Good afternoon, honorable council members. Maria Hoy of Latham and Watkins on behalf of the Grove. Before you today are a specific plan, development agreement, and other approvals, along with the EIR, that will govern the development of the Television City property for at least 20 years. There is a complete disconnect between the specific plan and the EIR. The specific plan lacks regulatory provisions to implement many of the assumptions stated in the EIR. There are so many issues that I can't cover them all today. As one example, the project proposes at least 3 vehicular entrances from the Grove Drive. The Grove Drive is a collector street that's part of the Neighborhood Enhanced Network and Bicycle Enhanced Network in the city's mobility plan. Yet, the project will be able to have unlimited construction and production trucks, visitors and employees entering and exiting from the Grove Drive, including 18-wheeler trucks. This is inconsistent with the mobility plan and a hazard, and will create major impacts to the Grove, Broadcast Center apartments, the Holocaust Museum, and the surrounding community. The EIR claims this is okay because the number of trucks will be limited, audience visitors will be limited, and most visitors will not use the Grove Drive. But none of these constraints are in the specific plan regulations or mitigation measures. The city has made environmental impact conclusions and findings based on a vision of the future development that is not required by the regulations in the specific plan, development agreement, or the mitigation measures. As we describe in more detail in the letter we submitted to you today, the EIR fails as an informational document, lacks a stable project description, sets forth an inadequate baseline, and the EIR's conclusions are unsupported. The city cannot rely on the EIR for its determinations today, and the city cannot make the requisite findings for the various approvals. The City Council's decisions on the TVC project approvals will dramatically impact the Grove and the community for years to come. We respectfully request that you recommend denial of the project and direct staff to correct the EIR and to include regulations in the specific plan and mitigation measures that are consistent with the city's own assumptions and that are protective of the community. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, honorable members of the committee, Andrew Sterles from the Holland & Knight firm, and we represent the A.F. Gilmore Company. While there has been some movement and additional conditions, we remain concerned about the opaqueness of the process surrounding this massive development proposal, and we remain convinced that the CEQA process is fatally flawed. The findings necessary for the vesting tentative map cannot be lawfully made, and the CEQA documentation fails because it does not have a finite and stable project description. Beyond CEQA, the process and product of this project represents poor policymaking because the project proposes a specific plan that is neither specific nor a plan. And the proposed development agreement provides the applicant huge concessions and asks of it almost nothing. In short, the entitlements bestow upon a developer a blank check to do practically anything and subject it to very few actual performance requirements. As recently as this morning, we've seen new conditions of approval that have been suggested, and we welcome that movement. But even these seem to have been rushed without reflection or contemplation. A few notes. The preservation of studio components and sound stages should not just be a part of the specific plan's permissiveness, but should be included in the development agreement as well as a continuing obligation. The limitation on special events is a step forward toward addressing concerns of the local business community, but it's awkwardly drafted and unclear. Special events should be capped at 500 guests rather than using that number as a floor amount. Here, too, there should be an ongoing public process. The restrictions on queuing and driveway bottlenecks should be made the subject of ongoing traffic and public works review as part of a public update and review process. At a minimum, absolutely no queuing or standing should be permitted on Fairfax or Beverly Boulevards. In summary, the proposed package of entitlements threatens to allow a by right permissibility to fundamentally alter the Beverly Fairfax area for generations, with little city oversight and almost no public or community role in how these huge new uses and structures will affect the neighborhoods and the local business community. Our clients respectfully urge the committee to please install guardrails and processes to prevent this. Thank you.
Good evening, council members. I'm Jack Rubens with the Shepherd Mullen Law Firm on behalf of Mayor Beverly Park, which owns Broadcast Center Apartments, which is adjacent to the project site, and owns with its affiliates several apartment buildings, either adjacent or in close proximity to the site, that collectively house 3,000 residents. First, I want to confirm for the record that we submitted yesterday an 85-page comment letter that contains our technical responses to the final EIR and erratum prepared for the project, which is supported by additional expert testimony prepared by Ramble and Lynn Scott Long Greenspan, which are preeminent experts in Southern California with respect to traffic, air quality, and noise. Our client has consistently said, like so many of the other appellants, that they support studio expansion and recognize the benefits of it for the city of Los Angeles. The problem has been and continues to be the failure to strike an appropriate balance between that goal and respecting the stakeholders and neighbors who would be impacted in a way that is needless, but here we are. It would take many hours, as Maria Hoy stated, to tell you about the almost innumerable ways in which the EIR and the project are legally inadequate. I'm just going to mention two. First, this project from the beginning has not been stable, finite, or accurate. The EIR is based on a conceptual, illustrative development scenario that is one of an infinite number of options that could be developed on the property. The facts here are literally identical to the Stop Millennium case, a case that the city lost, where the Court of Appeals said that this exact scheme failed because it didn't identify a concrete project. We don't understand how we've gotten to this point, given those circumstances, but here we are. I'll give you one example of how the project isn't concrete. The conceptual scenario shows two 70-foot sound stages and a 100-foot or so office building directly west of the site. But the specific plan allows buildings up to 145 feet in height, which are more than double the size of the sound stages. We have no idea what's actually going to be built there. Second point I'll make is, and we spent a lot of pages in our letter stating this, is that whether you agree with the information in the EIR or not, the final EIR and erratum present an enormous amount of new data and analysis that was simply missing from the draft EIR. There are 26,000 pages of responses to comments, 16 topical responses that cover more than, I'll be done in one moment, that cover more than 200 pages, 80 new figures and tables, 19 new technical appendices, thousands and thousands of pages of analysis that the public never got a chance to see in the draft EIR.
All right, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Nicole Kuklak-Wellman here on behalf of the appeal for Danielle Peters. I will make this quick because our lines have been used over and over again. The applicant has presented Appendix A for design standards, for example, 13 pages and another 7 pages of text that control $2 million square feet of development with no detailed architectural or site coverage plans. The design standards and site plans were not made public until 10 months after the draft EIR was issued, only after planning failed to properly respond to a Public Records Act request we had filed months earlier. If you're really planning a studio, wouldn't you at least have a plan? Or maybe you can sell it to New York. Speaking of public engagement and comment, the specific plan deprives the community of chances to assess changes or modifications to the site at all. As currently drafted, all changes to the site operate ministerially through the specific plan and are decided through the planning director with no opportunity for appeal. Anything that does go through a planning commission goes to the city planning commission and not to the area planning commission, completely denuding the residents of any opportunity for comment or change on this project that, again, is only guaranteed to be 7.5% studio. That is not what was reflected in any mailer that was dropped to the community by Hackman. There is also no compliance tool for the specific plan. After the Academy Museum's failure to comply with agreed-upon conditions, including public events, neighbors are reasonably seeking a mechanism to make sure the developer does what they promise they are going to do. We suggest a plan approval requirement that requires the applicant or future property owner to come back and demonstrate compliance with existing conditions if they want to continue to operate with the benefit of a specific plan. A specific plan is not just some random basket of entitlements that you can do whatever you want with. It's a plan, but we don't have a plan here. My clients do not oppose revitalization of the Television City Studio. They oppose a blank check that is opening TVC to most any commercial use for the next 20 years of construction and 100 years of operation. I have never, ever seen an EIR or specific plan with lack of specificity as to space, design, massing, or location, or so many flaws related to public noticing and opportunity. There have been over 10 appeals, 400 comment letters. There is something missing here. It's an actual plan. Please send this project back to the drawing board so we can work together on something that works for the city, the neighbors, and the region. We are all in this together. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'd like to ask the applicant to come up and present their project, Television City Studios.
I will keep my remarks brief. We've been here for a long afternoon and appreciate everyone's patience. My name is Brian Glodney, Executive Vice President at Hackman Capital Partners, the largest independent owner and operator of studios worldwide. I would like to thank Councilmember Yaroslavsky for her ongoing leadership and support throughout this entitlement process, the Department of City Planning for their professionalism and dedication. I would also like to thank everyone here today. The TVC project would create 2,900 construction, 6,700 operational jobs, build the city's first all-electric studio, elevating the standard of sustainability best practices for operations, and provide a $5 billion boost to the Los Angeles entertainment industry and the surrounding Beverly Fairfax community. First and foremost, we are in concurrence with the City Planning Commission determination to deny the appeals and recommend approval of the proposed entitlements. We also accept the additional requests from the council member that were read into the record today. We have actively listened and we have meaningfully engaged, and we've meaningfully responded with project refinements that reflect reasonable concerns raised, while balancing our operational, safety, and security requirements of a modern studio use. The public process has worked exactly as intended, to intake public concern and appropriately refine the project over the course of review and approvals. There have been no new issues raised today that have not already been fully addressed by the city multiple times. Detailed answers have been provided in the final EIR, city staff reports, and at the 2 public hearings. The project has widespread support from more than 4,000 local residences, small businesses, entertainment organizations, nonprofits, environmental groups, and trade unions, many of whom were here today with us. Thoughtful, responsible development like the TVC project is critical to the city and is broadly supported by the local community, despite what the small and coordinated opposition may say. Council members, thank you very much for your time and consideration on the pressing matter. We respectfully ask that the council members uphold the City Planning Commission's denial of the appeals and recommend approval of the project entitlements. Thank you very much.
Thank you. At this time, allow Councilmember Yaroslavsky to provide any comments on this project.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Thank you all for being here today, making the time. I'm very sorry that we had to start so late. I appreciate Councilmember De Leon leaving a doctor's appointment literally from the waiting room to reschedule and come back here, so thank you. As we've heard this afternoon, this proposal has sparked passionate conversations in our community and raises really important questions for the future of the Beverly Fairfax neighborhood and Los Angeles more broadly. I want to acknowledge the concerns and frustrations from the community. I've heard from so many neighbors who were worried about traffic, parking, and how the project might change the very identity of the Beverly Fairfax neighborhood. These are not small issues, and I want to assure everyone that I've taken them to heart through this process and share these concerns. Beverly Fairfax is one of Los Angeles's great neighborhoods. It has incredible character, vibrant commercial corridors, proximity to one of LA's best parks, and mid-density mixed-income housing. It's a very special place that's worth preserving. That's why when this project was first proposed, I was skeptical. It felt out of scale, lacked adequate plans to mitigate traffic, and didn't guarantee that it would truly serve our entertainment industry. But I also understood the potential. Los Angeles, as we know, is at a critical juncture when it comes to the future of the entertainment industry. Over the last decade or more, we've seen a troubling migration of film production to other states and countries. Cities like Atlanta, Las Vegas, and Vancouver have been aggressively investing in production infrastructure and offering finance incentives, and the results have been devastating for Los Angeles. We're talking about tens of thousands of jobs and billions of dollars in economic activity leaving our city, jobs that sustained middle-class families and activity that helps keep our communities thriving. This project, if done right, offers an opportunity to reverse that trend, to invest in good-paying jobs for set designers, camera operators, editors, and the countless other workers who are the backbone of our industry, not to mention the thousands of construction jobs. That's why over the past 2 years, my office has been working hard directly with the developer and the community to refine the project and secure meaningful changes. Leading up to and at the City Planning Commission meeting in September, we secured several critical changes. We reduced the total maximum square footage by nearly 200,000 square feet. We cut building heights along the property's perimeter and the height of the one remaining tower. We increased setbacks and stepbacks and doubled the commitment to reduce vehicle trips through a robust TDM program. This will be the most aggressive transportation mitigation program in the city, and it's actionable. And today, as we read at the top of the meeting, I'm requiring 5 additional conditions that the project must meet to earn my support. These include increased setbacks for rooftop communication equipment, helipad operation limitations, special events limitations, ensuring adequate driveway capacity to prevent queuing and backups onto Fairfax and Beverly, which we know are already overburdened with significant traffic, and to ensure that the project will always be a studio project with studio uses. These aren't minor adjustments. They're targeted solutions to address specific concerns raised by my office and the community. But it's not just about mitigating impacts. It's about creating opportunities to improve the neighborhood. Through the development agreement, we've secured a $6.4 million community benefits package that will directly benefit the Beverly Fairfax neighborhood, including nearly $2 million to address traffic improvements and nearly $1.5 million for streetscape and bike infrastructure upgrades, $1 million for improvements to Pan Pacific Park, and another $1 million to set up a Beverly Fairfax Business Improvement District, fund local arts programs, and make public safety improvements to the neighborhood, and $1 million to fund affordable housing in our community. These investments are designed to not only address current challenges in the neighborhood, but to support the kind of vibrant, walkable community that Beverly Fairfax is known for. Take the funding we've secured to create a Beverly Fairfax Business Improvement District, for example. Many of us have walked down Fairfax, felt the sting of what's been lost. We all can see that this once thriving corridor is very much struggling right now. What happened is clear. We lost the funding and resources needed to ensure this building district could thrive, but it's also not too late to turn things around. This project is not just about mitigating impacts, it's about creating significant opportunity to strengthen the neighborhood, to address longstanding infrastructure needs, and to invest in a better quality of life. I know that some, though, still feel that this project doesn't go far enough in addressing their concerns. To those neighbors, I want to say I hear you, and as this project moves forward, I will remain committed to working with you to ensure that impacts during construction and beyond are monitored and mitigated. Transparency, accountability, and collaboration have to be the cornerstones of how we move forward. And ultimately, this decision is about weighing trade-offs. The challenges this project presents are real, but so are the stakes for Los Angeles. Approving a thoughtfully modified television city project means standing up for our city's identity, our regional economy, and our constituents who depend on a thriving film and television industry for their own livelihoods. And so, colleagues, I ask for your aye vote today as the project is amended. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you, Councilmember Yaroslavsky. Any comments? Okay, seeing no other comments, I'm going to read my recommendations in for 9, 10, 11. Starting with item 9, I'm going to recommend, Mr. Mejia, that we deny the 6 appeals filed by the Grove, Peter Hayden on behalf of A.F. Gilmore, Patty Schwader on behalf of Mayor Beverly Park Limited Partnership, Save Beverly Fairfax, Beverly Wilshire Homes Association, and Danielle Peters on behalf of the Neighbors for Responsible TVC Development, and thereby sustain the recommendation of the City Planning Commission to approve a vesting tentative tract map number 83387 for the proposed merger and re-subdivision of 4 lots into 3 lots, and a haul route for the export of up to 772,000 cubic yards of soil for the property located at 7716 to 7860 Beverly Boulevard, subject to conditions of approval and findings, and approve the supplemental planning department report dated November 27, 2024, in response to the appeal and uploaded to council file number 24-1315, recommending that the appeals be denied. Item number 10, approve the resolution for a general plan amendment and draft ordinances effectuating a zone and height district change from commercial and limited commercial zones to the television city zone, and to assign the television city zone to a 0.63 acre portion of the project site from the unincorporated area of the County of Los Angeles to the city, and a corresponding code amendment to add the television city zone to the municipal code, and establishment of the television city specific plan, and establishment of the TVC sign district for the property located at 7716 to 7860 Beverly Boulevard, as recommended by City Planning Commission in its report dated October 3rd, 2024, and adoption of project findings. Approve the technical corrections and modifications to the television city specific plan, appendices A and E, and sign district appendix A, as recommended in the Planning Department's supplemental report dated November 27, 2024, and attached to council file number 24-1315-S1. Requests the city attorney to prepare and present 3 draft ordinances: a television city specific plan, establishment of the TVC sign district, and code amendment to add the television city zone for the properties located at 7716 to 7860 Beverly Boulevard, incorporate any additional conditions of approval submitted by Council District 5 that are uploaded to the council file 24-1315-S1, or were presented at the beginning of the meeting. For item number 11, request the city attorney to prepare and present the development agreement draft ordinances for the provision of public benefits in exchange for a proposed term of 20 years by and between the city and Television City Studios, LLC, for the property located at 7716 to 7860 West Beverly Boulevard, as recommended in the Planning Commission report dated October 22nd, 2024, and to approve the technical corrections and modifications and development agreement, Exhibit C, the depiction of the annexation property, which was inadvertently omitted, recommended by the Planning Department in its supplemental report dated November 27, 2024, attached to council file 24-1315-S2. And I believe, Mr. Mejia, the amendments submitted by Councilmember Yaroslavsky, if we can add those to item number, which item are we met? Item 10 and 11.
And also, sir, to adopt the technical amendments that were submitted by city planning dated December the 3rd, 2024.
Correct.
Which Mr. Paul Caporoso read at the beginning of the meeting.
Thank you, Mr. Mejia. Yes, correct. If you can add those two, please, if you can take the roll on those items. I'm sorry, Ms. City Attorney, do you have a?
We could take them all together, item 9, 10, and 11.
Okay, let's do that.
But yeah, I don't see the reason why not. I will call the roll for items 9, 10, and 11. Mr. Lee?
Aye.
Ms. Hutt is absent. Ms. Yaroslavsky?
Yes.
Ms. Padilla absent, and Mr. De Leon? Aye. Thank you, sir. So those items are approved as amended and as read into the record at today's meeting.
Thank you, Mr. Mejia.
Yes.
So I apologize. Thank you, everyone, for coming today. I apologize for... So, Mr. Mejia, I made I need to make a minor correction. Item number 18 that I continued
Yes, sir.
is, there's a time sensitivity date to that, so if we can take that from continuing, I'm going to add that we continue, not continue, that we, seeing as we lost quorum,
Okay.
move items 1, 3, 12, 18, 2, 6, and 13 on to council with no recommendation.
Okay. No recommendation. And therefore, the public hearing would be held in council, sir? Since...
That is correct.
Okay.
An additional public hearing will be allowed in public, in full council.
Very good. If you like, I can call the roll on that, on those. If you like, I can.
We have no quorum, but
Oh,
you can.
yeah.
Yeah, we're going to remove those items without no recommendation onto council, since there is some time sensitivity.
Okay.
And seeing as we've moved those items, are there any other items that I am missing?
Let me double check. Let's see, 6. Okay, 6, 19, 12, 13. 13 is included, 14. We acted 16.
You want me to read those again to you?
I just wanted to know if on item 16,
16, we are continuing.
we are continuing it?
Yes, correct. It's
Okay.
only 18 that I pulled back.
Oh,
to
gotcha.
add.
So 16 is continued. And 18 is to council without recommendation. I think we're good. I think those are all the items.
All right, thank you, everybody, for showing up. Again, these items are moving on to council. I apologize for the loss of quorum. Mr. Mejia, is there anything on the desk?
That leaves all items being acted on. No further items.
Okay, well, this meeting is adjourned.
Thank you.
On that note, on that wonderful note.